Good morning everyone, happy August the 1st, it's Tim Wild here again, and this morning I'm going to talk to you about crystals and crystal grids, which is a direct result of a conversation that I had in the comments on a Facebook post, and something I take very much for granted working with crystals. I'm going to break it down a little bit and explain how I do what I do with my crystals. Now, there are myriads and thousands upon thousands of articles and instructions and crystal books and crystal articles available on the web. Now, in my experience, working with crystals is incredibly intuitive. I've been doing it kind of naturally since I was a very small child. I used to waddle around with my pockets full of stones, and my parents used to probably look at me and go, "Oh, bless him, let him get on with it," kind of thing. But I was doing my thing with the crystals at an early age, and I used to collect pieces of natural stone and quartz, if I could get my hands on it, from the local areas particularly in southern Britain, when my parents took me on holiday when I was young. And I've still got it now to this day, a cabinet at my mum's house, which is full of all of the different stones and unique pieces of rock that I used to find when I was a kid. And back in those days, I suppose in a way I was working with crystal grids, because I used to formulate them into patterns or put them in what I would call, a childlike chronological order. And this is very much how we work with crystals, particularly the young children that are coming through now. If you notice how they work with them, everything is done with flow. It is a completely intuitive process. And this is what I'd like to work on today, is bonding with crystals in an intuitive manner and working with them as a tool, as an aspect of yourself, which is it's almost like a physical projection, and allowing them to, amplify our space, hold energy for us, create boundaries of energy for ourselves within which we feel more comfortable. So the crystal grid is one of the simplest and most effective ways that I find of keeping my energy space fifth dimensional. Now, I have a house with young children in. I like to keep my environment high, pure, clear and vibrating at as close to a fifth dimensional frequency as I can manage all the time. Obviously this fluctuates, anybody out there listening to this or watching this who's a parent will realise that over the course of your average working day, the vibration can kind of go up and down on quite a regular basis due to the natural courses of life. But on a working level, I like to set an energy, and I like the property to be held within that energy for the benefit of everybody, including myself, within it. So the way that I do this is I take my crystal. Here is my crystal. This is a Lemurian phantom crystal. It's my beloved and most favourite crystal of all. I use it to activate the crystal carvings that come into our house. I work with every single one of them personally, activate them and clear them before they go out. So this is my primary crystal. It contains all of the information and all of the knowledge that I use on a daily basis. And it does so because I ask it to record that knowledge. Now, every single one of you out there can do this. And I suppose this is just, the basic kind of, the way that I work with a crystal. And say, for example, you want to, or you have a meditation that you use on a daily basis. Say it takes you 20 minutes. Every morning you wake up and you go through this meditation. Say it's the 12 chakra activation, just for the sake of argument, and you sit there and you bring the light into your chakras, you activate your chakras and you clean your fields and you leave the house doing whatever you do in the morning, kind of bright, shiny and clear. say for the sake of example that one morning you didn't have time to do that meditation, you'd woken up late or you had to leave the house in a hurry, you could very easily program a crystal, your favourite crystal, to contain the vibration of that meditation, and you could ask your crystal to activate it for you so that you could do it literally in a split second. So the way that I would do that is I would run through my meditation, my favourite meditation, with my crystal in my hands as such, and say I would start off, I would speak to my crystal directly. I would say, beloved crystal, I would now ask you to record all of the information that I am about to present to you. So this is the flow of communication between you and your crystal. It's already a part of you, you've already bonded with it. So from this point onwards, the crystal is now active. It is consciously aware of the fact that you are going to be producing energy and information that is to be recorded. So I would then run through all of my meditation, and it helps to do it obviously aloud so that the crystal can take in precisely what you're saying, right from the very start, exactly as you would normally do it. So I would initially, for the 12 chakra meditation, I would call in the fire dragons, I would call in a light quotient increase from Archangel Metatron, and then I would work from through the 12 chakras, from the stellar gateway down to the Earth star. Now when I get to the end, I would then ask my crystal to store the information permanently. So you finish the meditation, you hold your crystal and you ask it to store the information permanently and lock it in. Now your crystal will now have retained the entire meditation and will be able to play it back to you on the instant that you wish it to do so. So say this morning occurred where I've woken up really late and I've got to get out of the house, and all of a sudden I've realised that I'm leaving the house without my usual energy maintenance. I would simply ask my crystal to reactivate the boundaries or the precise energy of the meditation as I recorded it, and lo and behold, all of this energetic activity will occur around you, and the crystal will recreate precisely what you placed within it. Now, even the smallest piece of quartz has the capacity to record a vast amount of information, terabyte on terabyte of conscious knowledge. So it doesn't matter how much you put into your crystal, as long as you can remember the format in which you've placed the meditations, you can place within your crystal as much or as little information as you want. So you could either have one crystal for each meditation if it helps you to remember, if you wanted to record lots of them, or you could just have one like I do with all of the different information and knowledge within it. Now getting back to the original kind of focus of this video, which is the crystal grid. Now a crystal grid to me means a grid of energy around my house. It can have two meanings. A crystal grid can mean literally lots and lots of crystals formulated in an intuitive or preset pattern. Thank you, Mr. Wasp. And so say you've got 12 to 15 to 20 crystals and you put them in a crystal grid pattern, and you intuitively ask them or verbally ask them to hold an energy. That's one way of doing it. But the other grid form that I like to use is an energetic grid, and you would use your favourite crystal again for this. So take your crystal, hold it in whatever way is comfortable or perfect for you, and with your eyes closed ask, say, Archangel Metatron to bring forth a column or a pillar of light down from the 9th dimension to be anchored within your crystal. And just sense, see and feel all of this beautiful light flooding down, connecting with your crystal, and your crystal is highly active at this point. Now from this point outwards, from the center point, you are the center point, your crystal is the center point, you expand the energy outwards for as far as you want. So say you wanted to cover the parameter of your house and the garden and contain it within a, say we'll use a spherical geometry. So expand from the point of your crystal outwards until your entire house, your garden, and maybe everything around you is contained within a sphere of light that starts from the central point, which is you and the crystal. Okay, so just sit there with your crystal glowing brightly with Archangel Metatron's energy, and allow it to expand outwards, and keep that going. Obviously you're using your third eye for this, you're using your mind's eye. With your eyes closed, allow the energy to expand outwards. Now you can use any geometry that you like. You can use a sphere, which is great for holding space, or you could use a pyramid, or you could use a cube. I find cubes very, very protective and very kind of like nurturing as a space or environment as well. And so when you have reached the boundaries that you wish to expand it to, say you've got like an average house size in a garden or wherever, and you can see the energy moving out from that point, when you're comfortable and you want it to stop, just say, "Crystal, please stop," and the energy will halt. And what you have is a grid formation or a grid network of energy around. Now, the second part of this is you fill your space with whatever energy you want within it. So say I wish to have a beautiful healing environment for myself and my family. I would therefore sit and I would call in Archangel Raphael to bring in his emerald ray, and I would ask him to fill the inside of this space, this bubble of energy, with his emerald light. So just call forth to Archangel Raphael and allow his beautiful emerald energy to flood in. See it moving through your crystal and expanding outwards into the parameter of your grid. For this, it's the sphere of energy. And you don't have to stop there. You can call in everyone or anyone to add their energy to the grid. You can call to the fire dragons. You could call to Commander Ashtar, who is the benevolent extraterrestrial who looks after our energy space within our universe. You could call the gold ray of Christ in, or the Mahatma energy, or the Aquarian Ascension energy pool. The list is endless, and it's entirely down to you what energies you use for your day. Now, as I said earlier, the central point of this grid, this parameter of energy, is your crystal. Now you can also ask your crystal to maintain this grid work for the day, or you could ask it to do it for 7 days. It's entirely up to you. But obviously be aware of the fact that if you're asking your crystal to maintain space or geometry for 7 days, that obviously the energy, that it might fluctuate a little bit, because there's a lot of energy or other foreign energies moving through your space at this particular time. I like to refresh the grids once every day or so, depending on what's going on in my household. So that is the simplest and most effective way that I have found of holding space for myself and for the others around me. Now be aware also that when you are using energies of a very high frequency, that anybody else coming into your property will really feel it. Okay, so say you've got visitors coming, and maybe they're used to this kind of energy, maybe they're already wide awake and kind of fully integrated, or maybe they're not. The higher the energy that you use to fill your space with, generally it can tend to become a little bit less comfortable for others. You know, if you're personalising your space completely, just be aware of the fact that that is your space, and that anybody coming in will, it's effectively, it's like leaving your coat at the door. There will be a boundary around your property, so anything that is resonating below the vibration of that frequency, it will not be entering while the grid parameters are in place. So just be aware of that. Okay, but as you say, it's your property, it's your space, you are filling it in the manner that you see fit. Now you can also do this for other spaces remotely. You can project energy into other spaces. But obviously, if you're doing this with intention, make sure that it's done under the law of grace, because deliberately affecting other people's energy spaces without their permission it's a little bit of a grey area. If you're doing it simply out of love, then that's absolutely fine. But if you're kind of operating under the kind of the premise that I wish to change that because I don't think it's right, then it's maybe not so cool. So just this is very, very simple crystal work that I do on a daily basis. I love keeping my space high, bright, shiny and clear. As you've probably already realised, I've been calling in the masters and the angels and the dragons and countless other beings of light since I can remember, to assist me in my journey. And of course, everybody listening to this can do exactly the same. This work is simple, it is intuitive. Working with crystals is an intuitive process, and it has been my intention for some time to write a book of my own on working with crystals, and that is a work in progress at the moment. So please leave any comments or any questions that you may have in the comment section underneath this video. If there's anything that you think that I've missed out, please say so. If there's anything that you wish me to clarify more, just fire away. I'm very, very happy to do so. And of course, you can find more information about all of the crystals, the grids, the masters and the angels that I work with. I have 2 Facebook pages, Tim Wild Practical Ascension and Crystals and Skulls Tim Wild. So feel free to visit them both. And lots of love to you all. See you soon. Bye bye.